Alan Faneca was really a unique guard because he had the ability to be mobile. He was, over 300 pounds, so he was physical at the point of attack. He was equally as good in the running game as he was in the passing game, and that is rare for a guard to be as good in the pass blocking and run blocking. He was just special. Alan Faneca belongs in the Hall of Fame because he was simply one of the best guards that the NFL has ever seen.
He was one of the guards that he controlled the tempo of the front seven. He was the leader in that group. His climb, first level, second level, boom, boom, quick. Like you're telling your defense line, stay on him. Don't let him climb up to me. But that's what Allen was so good at, man. He was so dominant in how he could combo block, right? We call it combo, touch a man, boom, touch a man, move, right? And then when you can influence that much of an offense, of a defensive line, you're gonna have problems on the back end when you talk about the secondary. He was so dominant. And I'm telling you, man, in Pittsburgh games, the buzz and all of these guys coming downhill, if Allen's on you, you have to figure out a way to get around him and then deal with them. It's not gonna end well.
Alan Faneca made a heck of a block. You can see him pull and get that block that sprung Parker.
Him being so smart, right, in that box, a lot of people don't know how much calculation goes on in that box. He understood. I think a Hall of Famer is somebody truly that has the career that inspires others to be like them, to be great. And every time he stepped on the field, he was great.
Hello and welcome to Tigers Roar. I am Jonathan Poche, joined as always by Buddy Sanji, here to bring you everything you need to know about LSU sports, starting off with the newly crowned, let Alan Faneca know he's going to be inducted to the NFL Hall of Fame, a very special guest we're going to have on this show just a little bit later. But, man, a lot to talk about. LSU recruiting, the Super Bowl, and, of course, Alan Faneca to the NFL Hall of Fame. Good evening, bud, man. A little air
bump.
Good
to see you, JP. It's been a while, and we hope everybody's out there doing well, staying safe. LSU Hoops tonight, 8 o'clock. We are taping, of course, on February 10th. Two big games for Will Wade. But, yes, Brian Thomas Jr., a big wide receiver commit from Walker. Mike Jones Jr., a linebacker that can run and cover in space from Clemson. So LSU recruiting news. And Alan Faneca, I'll never forget when this guy – and JP, I was covering LSU. Curly Hallman was the coach. And he redshirted Alan Faneca and Kendall Cleveland. And, that's pretty bad when you're trying to save your job at LSU and you're redshirting a Hall of Famer.
Right.
But well-deserved, probably should have been in a couple of years. Kevin Mawai finally got in. Alan Faneca got in. And we'll talk with him in about a half hour.
I mean, Alan Faneca, one of the true Iron Men in football. Of course, you know that the offensive linemen, they got to be tough. But Faneca, such a mobile, you heard in the promo, he could really get to the second level. He could run. He is very fast, very physical, and barely missed any time in 13 years. It's unbelievable the way he was able to be available each and every Sunday.
I think he missed one game all those years, and it is amazing when they talk about the X's and O's and the technicalities. Man, the guy knew how to pull, but he knew exactly what shoulder to lean in, where to push him, where to drag him, how to hold and get away with it. You got to be able to hold and get away with it in the NFL if you're going to be a Hall of Famer. And here's the problem. When you're a guard, there's not a lot of stats, right?
Right.
So 6 and 9 with the Pro Bowl and all of that. We'll get into all of that with Alan coming up in a half hour. And, how about that Super Bowl? I know you and I and Roe and a lot of people picked Tampa Bay. A lot of other people were surprised. 6 Tigers, and the majority of them played and were impacted players. And, when Saban won number 7 with his college championship and ring, you just had to know that Brady was going to have a chance to get number 7.
Yeah.
Cam Jordan told him, you're playing for second. Well, the Saints beat him twice in regular season.
Yep.
Can you believe this run? Tampa Bay went in there, folks, and beat New Orleans in the Superdome, Green Bay at Lambeau, and then they had the luxury of being the first team ever to play in their home stadium,
Right.
and won the Super Bowl 31-9. And you know, isn't it a shame on these Super Bowls? You smoked the cigarette, it was over by what? In the third quarter?
Right. I mean, it started off back and forth. I mean, a couple of stops here by the defense. And look, Tom Brady, I don't think the GOAT conversation was ever really in doubt before the game, but 7 Super Bowls. I mean, he has more Super Bowls than 18 different franchises combined in the NFL. Over half of the franchises in the NFL don't have 7 Super Bowls combined. Tom Brady gets it done, but that Bucs defense, so legit, led by Devin White. I thought he was a very special player on Sunday, along with Leonard Fournette. Playoff Lenny. Now it's Lombardi Lenny.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette had a great game and posted as well on that defensive line for the Chiefs. Look, the Chiefs' offensive line was banged up, and that pass rush got to Patrick Mahomes all game long.
And, you know, it's interesting. You talk about 7 rings. He was in 10
Right.
Super Bowls. Look, I don't care if we live until eternity. I don't know if you're going to ever see a player that was in 10 Super Bowls. And so, you know, a lot of people taking shots at Belichick. We saw what Belichick did without Brady. But here's the great thing. Bruce Arians, you know, winning it this year, and Andy Reid, of course, who won it last year. These are players, coaches, well respected. Great to see Bruce get his first ring. And then, of course, we got to talk about the Saints, and we expect an announcement from Drew Brees very soon about retiring and what it's going to be like moving forward without Drew Brees. But Tampa Bay started out 7-5, won their last 8 games. And I got to tell you, being able to get Gronk, you mentioned Devin White. He had the incredible honor of riding his horse Daisy May around Tiger Stadium. There is no doubt, in my opinion, he's going to make that trek around Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay real soon with his new horse.
Well, a lot of people have asked me, you know, how did Tampa Bay pull this off? Like, where did they come from? Obviously, they got Tom Brady in the offseason, but every person on that team that scored a point in the Super Bowl was not on their team in 2019. I mean, they did a great job in free agency to kind of recruit guys to come. I mean, you talk about Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Leonard Fournette. Then you got, on the defensive side, Jason Pierre-Paul and Ndamukong Suh. I mean, these guys have all had character issues so far in their NFL careers, so the Bucs were kind of able to get them on a little bit of a discount, so to speak, and they just put it all together. And look, if you thought the Patriot way was something without Tom Brady was the Patriot way, according to Danny Amendola, who played in the Super Bowl with Tom.
Well, the other thing that I had to parallel for was when LSU won in 2019, all the things that Joe Burrow brought to the table.
Right.
You saw the same thing with Brady. Now, interesting that him and the Honey Badger got after it, and I'm glad the Honey Badger downplayed it because we didn't want any a firestorm after Brady winning number 7.
Right.
But those two was spicy. And I had a guy that actually texted me during the game, and he's a big New England Patriot fan. He says, man, that's a mistake because when you make Brady mad, he plays better.
Yeah.
Most people who compete in athletics, when you lose your temper and your control and you play mad, you play worse than you do better. Joe Burrow, remember UCF and that hit? Remember what happened on that cheap hit in the bowl game?
Yeah.
Culmination of 18 season from UCF. He played better.
Never lost a game.
Remember the hit right before halftime by Skalski? Even though he was hurt, he played better. Same thing with Tom Brady and this confidence and this swagger. It's leadership, it's trust, it's confidence, it's all those things that are all sappy, and you say, oh, that's a bunch of BS. Let me tell you what, everybody on that team, and Tom Brady told them before the game, we're going to win this game, we're going to celebrate, we're going to party. All these things he said came to fruition, and that's why people are all in with guys like Tom Brady and, of course, Joe Burrow in his heyday at LSU.
And we'll talk a lot more about the Super Bowl in this next segment. Later on the show, we have Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com talking about a lot of recruiting and the guys LSU has gotten, where the recruiting class sits nationally, and who are some early contributors Mike sees in that 2021 class. But don't forget, Alan Faneca in just about 18 minutes will join us here on Tigers Roar. Don't go anywhere. Get our first break of the evening. Come back and join us. This is Tigers Roar.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Team Honda wants to thank you for once again making us Louisiana's #1 new car dealer by offering you never-before-seen savings. For the first time ever, get 0% financing up to 60 months on some of your favorite Honda models. Get thousands in savings right now at Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to greystonecountryclub.com.
Continue here on Tigers. We're going to talk some Super Bowl 55 in Tampa. The first time ever the home team played in their home stand for a Super Bowl. Of course, it had to be Tom Brady. I wonder if that played into the decision. I mean, I know the Buccaneers were set up nicely to pick up a good quarterback with a lot of experience in play, but I wonder if that didn't weigh on him a little bit to say, I could be the first.
Well, I think that first you determine if the wife and the family want you to come back. He could have retired. And we know that at 43, his arm strength. Now, look, when the Saints went over there and beat them up in that regular season game at Tampa Bay, he looked old. He looked washed up. He looked like Breeze looked at the end of the year. And, of course, we know that it's time for Drew to go as much as he's given to this franchise. But Tom Brady has gotten a little bit of adrenaline, and he's re-energized. But look, when he got Gronk to come back and then Devin White said, hey, man, you got to get Fournette, as you alluded to. Antonio Brown, as a guy, had a cup of coffee with him at New England. It was a cast of characters. So I'm going to say he wasn't even thinking about the Super Bowl. When they were just trying to have a competitive team that would win some games. And at 7-5, there wasn't anybody thinking about Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. Let's be honest.
Right. We do have some highlights from that Super Bowl. We'll ask Katie and the truck to please play those, and we'll continue the conversation here on Tigers Roar. But, man, before the game, I didn't know who to pick. The Chiefs and the Bucs both had former LSU guys, and you know I like my Honey Badger, and you know I like Clyde Drow. But Devin White, Leonard Fournette, Fournette's a New Orleans guy, went to St. Aug, the same high school as Honey Badger. I was not disappointed in the Bucs win. In fact, I picked the Bucs before the game to play because that defense made the Saints and the Packers look bad, and I knew they'd have a tough time. But if they got pressure on Patrick Mahomes, they'd be able to contain him, and that's just what they did.
Playoff Lenny ran and reminded people of a lot of when he was at LSU, his Gronk's first touchdown. And look, all the prop bets, the one I wanted the most was Clyde Edwards-Helaire for 32.5 yards over that. But a lot of short passing, and right out of the gate, scoring touchdowns and not field goals, JP.
That's right. That's what really built that lead for the Bucs. Here's a great stand at the goal line for the Chiefs, so there was no replay that would have showed him getting in or not getting in. The ball was tough to be found, but the Buccaneers get it back after a punt. And here you go, Tom Brady finding Gronk in the end zone with an absolute dot. I mean, that's a perfect throw. Gronkowski scores the second touchdown of the night.
This is the second consecutive playoff game that Tampa Bay scored right before halftime, as we see with Kansas City. Mahomes was under pressure. I want to say 29 snaps he was under pressure. And they finally got it to Kelsey. But look, once again, these field goals aren't going to beat a world champion.
Just like the Saints, how they got excused out the playoffs. That's the same thing they were doing, kicking field goals early instead of scoring touchdowns. Gronkowski picks up a big first down right there. Tom Brady drops back again, finds Leonard Fournette, who lowers his shoulder. He was playing out of his mind the entire game.
You know, they really did a good job, and this drove me crazy when he was at LSU. And this is the play where the Honey Badger and Tom Brady got in each other's face, a quick little whip route to AB to get him in the end zone.
A nice run by Clyde right here, that chased down by Devin White. You know, it always felt like the Chiefs were going to be able to bounce back and score some points quick because that's what they've done all season. But the Bucs did an outstanding job, double teaming Tyreek every time he went deep and really bottling up Travis Kelce, taking a lot of dinks and dunks. Just not going to be the team that scores like Tampa Bay does.
Can you imagine if Devin White had come back and played on the 19 team? Devin White had to go. He was picked 5th. In the first round by Tampa Bay, and boy, look, a lot of people were blowing up my phone saying he ought to be the MVP instead of Tom Brady.
Devin White's going to be the best middle linebacker in the game for a lot of years to come. A lot of hype around him at 45 right now. Tom Brady drops back again. Gronkowski, this could have been a touchdown, got tripped up late, but look, when you have that Brady to Gronkowski duo working, it just really opens up the run game. As you see right here, Leonard Fournette takes in 22 yards for a touchdown.
27 yards, that is the longest touchdown run by a former LSU Tiger in the Super Bowl.
Pat Mahomes really tried to get it going, but you see right there, interception off of a perfect tip. Antoine Winfield, a phenomenal young rookie. The Bucs really have done a good job drafting as of late. And, of course, you get the offense going again. Leonard Fournette looking for contact. That's what you love about the guy. Big body, loves that contact.
Well, he's using that pad level, and here's a great play right here. Look, he's not looking like he's 4'3", but when you run 4'5" or 4'5", and you're 230 pounds and you're playing with low pad level, that's a load to tackle.
Exactly. They did a great job against the Packers and followed up with a great game in the Super Bowl. Here you see Clyde with another hard, tough run. Chiefs fans absolutely love number 25. It changed his number to pros. But he'll get a lot more chances in this league. His rookie season, a definite success, bouncing back from a tough injury.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, of course, came back and had a cup of coffee in the AFC Championship game, but I thought he played well in this Super Bowl.
I mean, here you see Patrick Mahomes running for his life. This is an absolutely phenomenal throw. If the pylon's not in the back of the end zone, this guy might have a chance to catch it. Mahomes runs 497 yards before being sacked or passed. That's the most yards run by a quarterback before a sack or a pass in the history of the NFL.
It doesn't matter who you are when you don't have and these are shades of Fran Tarkenton. Older folks out there watching remember Fran Tarkenton would run around like that. Devin White almost had that interception. He got one at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that throw is absolutely crazy, absolutely perpendicular with the field. Throws it like a shortstop, hits the receiver in the face. Of course, he wasn't expecting a ball, not from a quarterback at that angle, but I mean, Patrick Mahomes, with the accuracy with his arm angles, is incredible.
And once again, though, as good as Patrick Mahomes is, he's under pressure and duress. You mentioned John Paul Pierre and Devin White, Shaq Barrett, David, all of those guys. They just, and here's the key, JP. They put pressure without blitzing. When you can put pressure with your front four, and then you send in a safety or a linebacker, it's really problematic, and I didn't think Mahomes ever got into a groove.
I'll tell you what, Brian Flores, the defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, if the job search committee for every other team had started after the Super Bowl, that's a name high on a lot of people's list. He did a great job. I'm talking about beating the Saints, the Packers, and the Chiefs. The first time a team has ever beat 3 Super Bowl MVPs in one playoffs. He did a great job with that defense.
And look, we're giving kudos and bouquets and perfume and cologne to obviously Tampa Bay, but it could have been the Saints. I was not enamored with Sean Payton and his play calling at the end, and it seemed like this has been, and I know a lot of Saints fans are frustrated, obviously, starting with that Rams debacle when they got cheated, but a lot of bad luck with the injuries at the end of the year, and without Taysom Hill, Sean Payton looked like he was he lost one of his Christmas toys.
Right, and then you lose Deontay Harris. That totally eliminates the big play for the Saints. And when a defense knows you can't throw the ball down the field, they're going to stack that box. They're going to play 15, 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. It's going to be really tough for Drew Brees to find those tight windows. But going back to the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes will have surgery on that turf toe. It looked like he was about 80% to me during the game, but still 80% of Patrick Mahomes is very good. I kept expecting the Chiefs to come back and put some points on the field, but once again, that Buccaneer defense, they did a great job. A lot of young talent on that side of the ball, mixed with some veterans who also had the experience and the know-how to get things done. That's going to be a team that I foresee doing some more damage in the playoffs next season and possibly getting that rematch back with the Chiefs.
Well, what I like about it is that he did not blame his performance on the toe, and I think he had surgery today. So we'll see. Obviously, Tampa Bay. Now, Mike Evans from Texas A&M has already said, look, I got plenty of money. I'll give some of my money to get these guys back.
Yeah.
I think, in the conventional wisdom now, is that Leonard Fournette got his ring. Now he's probably going to get paid. His market value was not great after he was cut by Jacksonville. A lot of problems, a lot of baggage. After that game and the way he played down the stretch, does he go back to Tampa Bay and not get the big money, or does he max out with the money and take care of his family?
Well, I'll tell you what, after going from a situation like Jacksonville where the offense runs through Leonard Fournette, they stack the box every game against him, 2-3 guys keying on Leonard Fournette. Every time he touches the ball, he's going to get hit. So when you go to a team like Tampa Bay with so many weapons on the outside, really spread the field, Tom Brady finds a lot of different receivers, it makes it easier for Leonard Fournette. I can't see him going back to a offense where he is the main feature and enjoying the game. Football is a grind. Practice, the workouts, the off season. The 2 days at camp. You get beat up all during the year. You got to have fun playing the game, or you're not going to last. And Leonard Fournette says himself, playing in Jacksonville wasn't a lot of fun. Even though he's picked 5th overall, he wasn't having a lot of fun. I have to assume if he doesn't go with Tampa Bay, he's going to have to find another high-powered offense to go to, a team with some money, because look, at those performances in the playoffs, he's going to garner a big contract.
Well, there's no doubt. The second contract is when you make the big money with the NFL. And now that he, look, I got to be honest with you, a lot of people thinking that he reminded them when he was a sophomore at LSU. Let's be honest, he was leading the Heisman Trophy race for about 6 weeks, and then, of course, got hurt and ran into Alabama on the back end.
Real quick, Bug Man, any Super Bowl commercials that come to your mind that you enjoyed?
I've never used DoorDash, and I've never used Uber Eats, and I saw all of that. I liked Bryson DeChambeau in a couple of those, but I'm not lying. I didn't watch the national anthem. I didn't watch the halftime show. Didn't see too many of the commercials, so that's going to be your cup of tea. I'm a puncher. I go from back one thing to another. So I wasn't going to let any of the political BS that was spewed out there during commercial time to influence my opportunity to enjoy the game.
Well, starting with the national anthem, I like Eric Church. I follow his music. I really enjoy his music, but did not love the national anthem. The duet thing, I didn't enjoy that really. The halftime show, The Weeknd, who performed, $7 million of his own money went into that project. The set, the dancers, the costumes, everything. I was not impressed. $7 million. Wow. The set was cool. They had flashing lights and And I tell you what, I saw somebody tweeted on the halftime on the field, they had 50 dancers all with their face masked up and tape. Somebody tweeted out, that's the most anybody's worn a mask in Florida all year. I thought that was pretty good. Commercials, I did like the Jason Alexander commercial with the hoodie. I thought that was pretty good. There was also an Eminem commercial that was pretty funny, but overall, pretty forgettable. I mean, and they have been for the last few years. Nothing to write home about.
And look, I screamed at the TV, and the kids looked at me like I was crazy, and I said, "We're back!" And they looked at me and said, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "We got a streaker at the Super Bowl. We're back to being normal again."
Yeah.
And let's hope and pray all the football games we go to in 2021 will have our regular attendance without the mask.
A lot more here on Tigers Roar, including a very special guest joining the show in Alan Faneca, the new NFL Hall of Famer. Not inducted yet into Canton, but he's well on his way. The league let him know with a knock on his door. He is going to be a bust in Canton. Get a quick break and then come back and join us right here on Tigers Roar.
Creel Tree Service is a licensed and insured tree service providing tree and stump removal, topping, trimming, cabling, pruning, and fertilizing. We have free stump removal with takedowns, free estimates, affordable rates, and senior citizens discounts. Call 774-TREE. That's 774-8733. Get your yard ready for the warmer weather. If it deals with a tree, call me, Creel Tree Service, 774-8733. That's 774-TREE.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with The Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Of all the auto brands on the road today, only one has been named the best auto brand for 6 straight years. That brand is Mazda. Come shop and save on the award-winning lineup of new Mazdas right now at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Caught spiders. Premier Pest Services.
I've seen a lot of things during my life, more bad things than good. I've lived in a lot of places, but never a home. I don't think anybody cares about me anymore. And now, I'm tired. Signed, Brian, age 11.
Abused and neglected children in East Baton Rouge Parish are in dire need of CASA volunteers. Please call 379-8598 today. Change a life of hurt into a life of hope.
Hello. Hola. 你好.
Experience what the Baton Rouge International School can offer your children. Now welcoming displaced students for short and long-term stability.
And we welcome you back Wednesday night in the capital city of Baton Rouge, doing Tigers Roar on this February the 10th. JP, always honored to have a great guest, and boy, this is at the top of the list. Everybody knows that it's been a long wait. We bring in Alan Faneca, former LSU Tiger, former Pittsburgh Steeler, played in the league 13 years. Alan, congratulations, and man, oh man, all the interviews and the emotions. I mean, has it set in just yet what's happened to you in the last 3 or 4 days?
It has set in, but I feel like there's more to come, that it'll sink in a little bit more, but it is starting to sink in.
Hey, let's talk about, obviously we're going to hit, since this show is called Tigers Roar, we're going to talk about LSU, but let's talk about the pro game. And, a lot of questions, Alan. why you wasn't in earlier and was there bias to Pittsburgh, but everybody that congratulated you on the Steelers, talking about, hey, we've been waiting for this. I remember when I was talking to Kevin Mawai for a couple of years, and he was waiting, you were waiting. Talk about the moment that you knew that you were in, and obviously all the things. You didn't get to knock on the door at the hotel room, but you got it at your house. If you could, tell us a little story about how all that went down, and obviously what was the most impactful for you with that happening.
So we knew that the voters had voted early, and the voting was in, and we were just waiting to be told, and they said they were just trying to figure it all out, and we're trying to figure out what the NFL was going to let them do and how they were going to tell us. But so that's all we knew, and we were just in limbo waiting. And so it was a championship weekend. It was the Saturday before the games, and I got to knock on the door. And lo and behold, my wife Julie knew about 12 hours before and held it in before David got there and kept it a secret from me. So she gave me the ruse of that we were going to go to brunch, and Seth gave me a reason to kind of get dressed up a little bit. And so we're about ready to go to lunch, and then all of a sudden I get the big thunderous knock at the door, and it's David Baker, president of the Hall of Fame, and I knew it had to be him. And I'm in the hallway, and Julie's on the other end of the hallway, just looking at me, and I just told her, I said, "You got me," and I just knew, and went on outside, man, and lo and behold, there's 10 or 15 cameras out there, and the camera crew, and David Baker ready to go, and I'm in, and I said, "Let's do it."
How tough was that, Al? And this was year number 6, and most people thought you were going to get in 2 or 3 years ahead of time. I know we all have spiritual faith, and you just hope that, when the knock comes, you're around and everybody's healthy and happy and all. But was it tedious to wait that long, or did you just put it outside of your mind and say, when it comes, and I'll be happy whether or not it's the right time or delayed?
It's a little bit of both. You tell yourself that, but at the same time, it is a tedious process, and it doesn't get any easier when you are in it year after year. You're going through it with not just yourself; it's you and your whole family is with you. So every year you're ramping up, and people are giving you good luck and congratulations, and people are reaching out, and you made it to the next level, and then all of a sudden it's back to square one again. So it's not an easy process. It's not for the faint of heart. There are some political type, things going on behind the scenes in the whole voting scene, and you just got to deal with it and move on. And once you're in, and that's where I'm at right now.
All right, Alan, take you back to Super Bowl 40 versus the Seahawks. I mean, a famous highlight you see all over when you look up Alan Faneca. You pull to the right, and you spring fast Willie Parker for a touchdown. Talk about that situation. What was that play call, and just how that really cemented your career as a Hall of Famer?
We had a scheme up in for the game that we knew they had shown us that if we could get our slot receiver to the left, if we could get him the ball just a couple of times in the game, just make a couple yards, that they would slide their linebackers over and really overplay their defense to kind of shut that down. So we had about 8 plays in, and the run check that we scored on was on every single one of them. And lo and behold, we go in at halftime, they make the adjustment. The first time we run it, second play of the second half, they shifted over, and I'm in my stance, and I know the check is coming. I know Ben Roethlisberger is about to make the check, and I just like, holy shit, here we go, man. And I pulled and got my block, kicked him out, and we knew if we could get Willie Parker in space, he was going to take to the house. So I got my block, and I spun around on the turf, which I never do, and I was like, man, I want to watch this one all the way to the house, and he just took it there.
And Alan, anytime you're blocking for a guy whose nickname is the Bus, Jerome Bettis, you and him were very close on and off the field, and a lot of the interviews we've seen, you guys just knew what each other were going to do. Talk a little bit about the instincts and having a guy like Jerome Bettis running, how you played off of each other's game.
Man, so smart, so powerful, and some of the fastest feet you'll ever see, especially for a big guy like he is. But you know, the more we played, the more I could tell where he was going to run the ball based on the defense, how they were lined up, and you know, we both played off of that a lot, and I was able to cheat and, you know, maybe not quite do what I was supposed to do on a play because I knew Jerome was going to take it back to this hole. And, you know, it only helped. But we had so much time with each other. We had a good relationship, like you said, on and off the field. He's a special friend on top of being a great teammate. And it was great to have him announcing my enshrinement on the Honored Show.
Alan, I mean, we know offensive line is not a glory position. It takes a lot of tough guys, both emotionally and physically. I mean, you had to pride yourself of always being available for your team on Sundays. Who really instilled your sense of toughness in you?
Oh man, you know, I think it came from a lot of different levels, man. It came from you know, playing basketball, youth basketball, and you know, being pushed to the limits, man. A big guy running up and down the court, and you know, being forced to, you know, make a decision. Right? You're going to check out or you're going to keep going. Then you go to the next level and, you know, you're playing high school ball and you're playing against the big boys. And, you know, you can either quit or you can keep fighting, you know, the older guys. And then you go to college and you're playing with the best of the best. And it only gets harder the more you go. You just got to keep pushing along until you're one of the top dogs. And you just got to keep fighting.
For those that don't know, Alan Faneca played 13 years in the league, 10 with the Steelers, 2 with the Jets, and 1 with Arizona. You missed one game. Look, we're doing a sports show, Alan, but I would imagine, JP, some medical magazines are going to want to talk to him. 13 years, missed one game. Yep. Also dealt with epilepsy growing up. And, of course, we know that, as you know, in the NFL, man, look, they expected you to play. How did you play that many games? And, oh, by the way, the other medical miracle, losing 100 pounds after his playing career and running a marathon. My man, you're going to be in the news for a long time, Mr. Faneca.
Oh, man. Thank you. You know, playing and having that streak, you know, one, you got to be lucky. 2, you got to play through pain. And the third part of it is you just got to know what you got to do on the field, man. There's certain situations, like, you know, as an offensive lineman or a lineman in general, you know, you never stand around the pile and they're always moving. And, you know, there's a smart aspect to that as well. But, you know, luck and playing through pain is probably the biggest deal. You know, the one game I missed too was a game we were locked up and the playoff seeds were all done, and I'd gotten banged up a little bit the week before, and I would have played if it was a regular game. So by the end of the week, I realized I had a streak going, and I was trying to get back in the game lineup, and Cower wouldn't let me get back in.
And let's talk about battling the medical issues as you were growing up and how that never, ever affected your career, either in college or pro, Alan.
You know, once I found out, after I had epilepsy in my freshman year of high school, once you get back past the, you know, basic life questions and how it affects your life, you know, then I moved on to sports. And you know, my doctor was real forthright and said, keep on doing it, go for your dreams. And I had a great support system of family and doctors around me, and I just kept moving and pushing it forward and kept being me, and just kept being me and trying my best, and God willing, it all worked out.
All right, everybody wants to know about the weight loss. JP, I saw Alan getting measured with the jacket, the gold jacket, and the bust and all of that. And Alan, I know this sounds like a crazy question, but there you are playing at 310, 315, and now you get measured appreciably smaller than that. Your bust is going to be a different looking face, and your body's different, and the jacket size is different. But everybody wants to know if that was a concerted effort, how you were able to do that, and how you ended up saying, you know what, since I got this thin, I'm going to run a marathon.
One thing I always said when I was playing, I said I'm gonna try and lose the weight. I probably don't need to be 320 when I'm 50 years old. I'm not going to use this weight for anything else. So I should probably try and lose it and see if it sticks. And so when I retired, I just put my head down and started training for it like it was another season. But I was doing different things. I was doing cardio and not eating instead of eating, and lifting weights and doing sprint work and stuff. So I put my head down and I did it, and it stuck so far, and it's been a life-changing event. My joints and everything are definitely happy, and the marathon came around. I was watching my wife run a half marathon, and then I kind of got hooked in. One day I was running around City Park in New Orleans, and instead of doing the normal little 3-mile run we would do, I said, I'm gonna go left. I'm gonna take a trip around the park. And it was hard. It was a struggle to get back to the truck, but it kind of revved me up a little bit, man. It got my juices going, my competitive flow, and next thing you know, I was training for a marathon.
JP, LSU obviously has had some great linemen, and we think that Andrew Whitworth will be the next one probably to go into the Hall of Fame. Hey, what was it like to get the message from Kevin Mawai, and how close are you two? And who was the first guy that you played with, or a former LSU player, that called you and congratulated you, Alan?
So Kevin and I talk frequently off and on. He's great, man. He's an awesome buddy of mine. Man, the first person that I spoke to back from the day, Ben Bordelon. Ben Bordelon was probably the first guy I talked to that reached out and congratulated me. And but so many guys. I mean, everybody. It was all coming at the same time. So it's hard to quantify who was first or last. It's literally like hearing from everybody you've ever known or met in the last week from your whole life. Is what's been going on. So it's been amazing.
Hey, people want you to tell the story, Alan, and I don't have all my ducks in a row, but I know the recruiting was an interesting thing. So if you could talk about when you played at John Curtis and then going to Lamar Consolidated, and I thought something happened right the night before you were going to sign. So if you could talk about high school career, where you played, and how you ended up invariably at LSU.
So I went to John Curtis 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Then we, due to family reasons, we moved to just outside of Houston, Texas. And I wound up going my 4 years out there to Lamar Consolidated outside Houston. And so I was starting to get noticed and recruited. And little known fact that you're talking about there is that I actually committed to Alabama the night before signing. And so I went to bed, and I woke up, and I'm in my room. I'm this kid from New Orleans, Louisiana, and I got all this stuff. When you're high school, you put stuff on your walls all the time. And I started looking around my room, and I was like, oh, man, I'm messing up here. I'm messing up big time. Because I got nothing but LSU stuff everywhere. And I'm like, man, I totally am forgetting. I've been dreaming about going to LSU forever.
Wow.
So I called Alabama up and canceled on them. They weren't too happy about that. And then I called Curly home and told him that I had changed my mind. And the coaches that were recruiting me were so nervous about telling Curly, they never told him that I said I wasn't coming. So Curly was a little confused on that phone call until he got it all straight.
That's great.
Hey, speaking of confused, Alan, you probably don't know this, but I actually talked to Coach Hallman at about 3/4 of the year, and I said, Coach, I'm not trying to coach here, but what in the living heck are you doing, red shirt and big number 66, and oh, by the way, Kendall Cleveland, JP, who was a pretty good freshman running back, and you got red-shirted as a freshman, and you say, man, that's a bad year in my life. So A, what'd you learn when you red-shirted, and B, wasn't that the same year that you met your lovely wife, Julie, at LSU?
It is. My wife Julie and I met in freshman English class at LSU and have been together pretty much ever since. You know what I learned? I got to learn from the big boys and not learn out on the field. And I absorbed everything and got in the weight room and got into the training regimen of a college program, and it really allowed me to hit the ground running that redshirt freshman year I had. But I've always been one to absorb from the older guys, so I got a chance to sit back and watch and listen and go out there and practice as well and try and put it all together. But it was a unique situation, and I think I used it to the best of my ability.
JP, can you imagine the fanfare on social media if a guy of this magnitude committed to Alabama, called up Nick Saban and said, Nick, I'm not coming. I'm going to play for Coach O. You love LSU. Talk a little bit about how much of fond memory that was when LSU went to Bama a couple years ago and beat them 46-41. I bet you were screaming at the TV, Alan.
You know what? I was screaming from the rooftops, man. I loved it. Man, I still keep up with it and keep back and get back when I can. It's forever LSU always. And, Coach O and the program does a great job of including us old-timers and making us feel a part of the family today. And it just keeps growing and going, man. I just love LSU to death.
All right, I want you to go down memory lane. It's 1997. You guys are playing the arrogant one, Steve Spurrier, with the Florida Gators. They're number 1. You guys are 14. Herb Tyler with an option play in Big 66 leads him down the right sideline. You ran the whole way, and we know, JP, a 40-yard time for a wide receiver, a quarterback, or a skill person is important. Nobody cares what an offensive guard runs a 40, but you ran it probably as fast as you ever ran it. Talk about that play and just the excitement in the crowd that night in Tiger Stadium, Alan.
Oh, man, that excitement, that was a great night, man. Nobody gave us a chance to win that game, and coaches did a great job, man. We adjusted how we ran our plays just enough, and it just completely threw them off. They were really fast on the defensive side of the ball, and we used it against them, and it worked out. The plan came out beautifully. We'd already put points on the board and were way ahead before they even realized how to adjust. But on that play, particularly talking about when Herb and I were running down the sideline, I was really supposed to be back there blocking somebody, but when I rounded the corner, I had a good knack of knowing when a guy's out of a play or not. So I kind of left that guy and went down the field to go get another guy because I knew that my man was already took himself out of the play and wasn't able to make the play. So that's how I got to get run down the field and go down there and celebrate with Herb in the end zone.
Consensus All-American at LSU. Then you get picked 26 overall to the Pittsburgh Steelers with a crazy fan base. I mean, you see it every Sunday. Got the terrible towels, or at least you used to before COVID. They would pack the stadium, be tailgating outside. Did playing at LSU in that atmosphere really get you ready to step into the big lights of Pittsburgh and all those crazy fans?
Oh, definitely, man. Nothing is as passionate as college football, as a college atmosphere. There's not as many people sitting around tailgating and outside an NFL stadium as there are college stadiums, especially LSU. So it definitely prepares you and even gets you ready for more noise than you're ever going to hear in the NFL. But Pittsburgh fans, if there's anything close to the college atmosphere, it is the Steeler Nation and the people that they bring and the people that they travel with. I've been in at least 5 or 6 stadiums as a visitor, and our fans have been there strong enough to force them to use the silent count in their own home stadium.
Wow.
And that just does not happen in the NFL unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Alan, we're going to go back to many, many years ago. Are you ready?
All right.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
David Baker. Has it sunk? And when's it going to sink in? And by the way, can you imagine, JP, whenever there's a Hall of Fame ceremony, The Pittsburgh fans go crazy. They love their Steelers. Have you started on this speech, and are you going to be long-winded? And we're going to give you an opportunity as we wrap up here today, Alan, to give a shout-out to your wife and your kids and your family and all the people that you still love here in Louisiana. But, man, oh, man, how much fun is that going to be? What kind of speech are you thinking about? Short and sweet, or do you have a lot of people to thank?
You know what? I've got a lot of people to thank, and I think there actually is a hook this year, so they're going to be shorter this year. I've been told there's an 8-minute cutoff, and they're going to cut you off because of the last year's class and this year's class and everybody going at once. So they're going to be a little shorter, but I got a lot of people to thank, and there's several different ways that they're going to let us thank people additionally on top of our speech. But I have thought a little bit about it, but hopefully the plan grows, and we'll just fine tune it as we go.
Well, from all of us over here at Pelican Sports Radio, TV, Internet, all of our media outlets, we congratulate you. You're nothing but first class, and wow, JP, you meet the love of your life at a freshman English class, and the rest is history. You got to have a book or a movie in your future, Alan.
Let's do it.
Thank you, my man.
Thank
we'll
you,
talk
Alan.
with you on radio on Friday, and kudos to you, and always handled it with class and great humility. And look, for all the people over here in New Orleans and Baton Rouge and in this state, we're proud of you, and congrats, my man. It's a special time for you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Alan. And, it's unbelievable when you talk about these guys. Look, you're talking about the Hall of Fame.
Right.
In the NFL, and you're talking about a position where you don't get a lot of accolades.
Right.
And yet everybody, once he got in, all said two things: well-deserved,
overdue,
and overdue. Yep. What took him so long?
That's right. That was a great interview, Bud, man. Special thanks to Alan Faneca for spending some time with us here on Tiger's Roar. A lot more to get to here on this show, including a quick segment with Mike Scarborough. Get you up to date with all things LSU recruiting. Talk about that 2021 class, who's going to early contribute for those guys, and a whole lot more. Don't go anywhere. This is Tiger's Roar.
Taste the feeling. Hi, business owners. Phase 3. Woohoo! But do your customers know you're back? Well, that's where the Clarence Bugg Show and Pelican Broadcasting can help. Right now, we've got great rates on advertising packages to help you get the word out. Shoot me an email at bugsclarence@gmail.com. Or better yet, call me up. I'd love to talk with you. 225-485-6839. Let's get together and make Phase 3 the best it can possibly be.
Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Balello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
From appetizers, pasta dishes, and entrees, La Contea takes pride in preparing all the Italian cuisine we know you love. Enjoy live music every Thursday through Saturday from 6 to 9, happy hour weekdays from 3 to 6, and brunch on Sundays from 11 to 2, as well as dinner portion-sized lunch specials for under $10. Visit our website to view our menu and book a party or meeting in our large banquet room. Once you try La Contea, your Italian dining will change forever.
Team Honda wants to thank you for once again making us Louisiana's #1 new car dealer by offering you never-before-seen savings. For the first time ever, get 0% financing up to 60 months on some of your favorite Honda models. Get thousands in savings right now at Team Honda on Segan Lane.
We continue here on Tigers Roar, a very special segment. Mike Scarborough from TigerBait.com joins us. Good evening, Mike.
Hey, how y'all doing?
We're doing fine. Thanks for joining us here on Tigers Roar. We wrap up National Signing Day. LSU has a top-ranked class, either 4, 5, or 6, wherever you do your shopping. Then they got a couple of late commits, including 2 yesterday. A couple of guys I know you like a lot.
Yeah, I was there yesterday at Walker High School for Brian Thomas, and I kept getting word last week. I kind of felt like the boy who cried wolf every day on Tiger Bait. I was saying, well, we're getting word it'll be tomorrow, and then it'll be Friday, and then got pushed to Monday. And Monday came, and they said, no, it's going to be tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and my sources were adamant to go ahead and continue with my prediction of LSU, and sure enough, when he released the video while we were in the gymnasium, it was LSU, and LSU's excited to have him. That's, of course, 5 receivers in the class, depending on how they end up utilizing Jack Besh. So they're going to have an additional weapon in him. And you're talking about 6'4", 195 pounds. Reminds a lot of people of Terrace Marshall. Basketball player, jump ball kid, long arms. And then today, you get the linebacker that you need in Jones from Clemson, and he's a kid that's got, if he wanted it, he could have up to 3 years of eligibility. So Mike Jones Jr. originally from Lebanon, Tennessee, ended up at IMG before going to Clemson. Austin Thomas had recruited him while he was at LSU and then A&M. He was a class of 2018, and at the time he was a consensus top 200 or so linebacker, and he's a covered linebacker, and so now LSU's got an additional spot left, and we'll wait to see what they end up doing with it.
I always try to ask you different stuff on the TV than radio, Mike. And I got this question after the show today after you were off, but were there any needs that LSU and these 24 signees didn't fill? And I know people can say, well, you only signed 2 O-linemen, but you got a bunch of them already committed for 2022. So other than O-line, did they not fill any needs that Coach O wanted to in this class?
Yeah, I tend to think that maybe they would have liked to have gotten a really good tight end, which we hadn't really talked about. But, what's going to be the philosophy on that under Pete, we'll see. Of course, nobody talks about, we've all been talking about Gilbert leaving, but nobody forgets that Cole Taylor showed a lot of promise last year. So we'll see how that ends up playing out.
Yeah, the offensive line returns, Mike, pretty much. They do get a couple of offensive linemen. Some guys already committed for 2022, but, I mean, LSU pretty much set up front with the big uglies, but super loaded on the outside. Am I wrong? I mean, the wide receiver position, LSU is just embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, there's no lack of athletes on offense between receivers, running backs. The numbers are crazy. And then, looking forward at running back, you've got 3 in Louisiana that are offered for next year. Yeah. So that's not the issue. But back to the offensive line, you got Lucas Taylor from St. Paul's Mobile committed, Will Campbell, Bo Bordelon. Then you got Emory Jones at Catholic, which I think LSU's in great shape with. Super offensive lineman who I think, in my mind, is a top 100 national kid, possibly a kid that could be a high 4-star, 5-star kid. Saw one network out there had him as a 3-star. They ought to pack their bags up and move on to some other profession. So we'll see.
Hey, who was the most impressive athlete that signed in this class that you actually filmed and saw? I know sometimes a lack of competition. Matthew Langlois, I know you went to a game and that was a blowout and you didn't really get to see his skills, but who was the guy this year in that class after you filmed him said, wow, this guy really has a bright future?
Man, that's a toughie because if you want to say, when you say athlete, you just want to relegate to running back?
No, any of these signees.
Okay, the signees, I'm still, man, Savion Jones. Just a kid that's that 6'5", 6'6", with that kind of speed and motor. And then Jack Besh. I mean, shoot, there's a lot of good ones there. And then not even just from the kids that I filmed. I mean, Le'Veon Moss. I mean, he only played like 15 plays when I was there, and he had 3 touchdowns.
Well, and you saw Walker Howard do some great things too, boy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just when you say athletes, I'm thinking wide receivers, DBs, running backs.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, we just had Alan Faneca on, and he said the first guy, the former player that called him, was Ben Bordelon. If you could just kind of hit people up on the 2022 offensive lineman, and I know Bo's got to grow a little bit, but Mike, it sounds like a couple of these guys are going to really be high recruits, and it looks like LSU is going to be once again 3, 4, or 5 with another great class.
Yeah. Ben's son Bo. 250, 55 pounds. Not going to play basketball this spring. Going to strictly play, work on gaining weight. So we're going to see how that plays out here. And then there's a younger son, Brett, who will be a 9th grader, and was talking to Ben a few weeks ago, and he might come in as a 9th grader and be the starting right tackle for the Greenies of Newman. So you could have 2 Bordelons anchoring each side of Arch Manning's offensive line.
All right, Mike, I know you've been asked this before, but you got to give it to me. Who is your top guys, early contributors in this 21 class?
I tell you what, just for piecing together and talking to people, it sounds like Derek Davis at safety, Mason Smith, Jack Besh, Armani Goodwin, and then I think Peyton Todd. Of course, my source said we don't plan on punting a lot. So we'll see.
Hey, along those lines, Mike, have you had any feedback, and I know it's early, but Austin Thomas has come back and had a big part of getting Mike Jones Jr. in here, but have you had any feedback from recruits who are talking to Jake Peets and DJ Mangus and George Munoz?
Yeah, well, that's something that Brian Thomas brought up yesterday.
Yeah.
And I followed up with him with my own question on Peets, and I mean, look, Brian is doesn't show a whole lot of emotion. He's really shy, but that was a factor with him in solidifying LSU with him. And I know that Walker Howard has talked to him, and he and his daddy Jamie were very impressed with him. So we're also hearing stories of all the coaches reaching out to current players, recruits, and that's very much a positive.
All right, Mike, we know Coach O went young with his new hires, both on defensive and offensive side of the ball. How do you think that's going to affect recruiting? These guys, they're going to be able to connect more with the players and their parents, or how do you think that's going to work out?
I think it's probably a little bit of both. I mean, you look at the ages of these coaches, and they're probably right in line with the parents of a 16-year-old recruit.
Right.
And then you got some of them that aren't far removed from being players. So I think it's a nice little combination there.
And we mentioned Savion Jones. We saw in the Super Bowl just how important it is to get pressure from the front four and blitz your linebackers and safeties when you want to. But Ali Gay and Andre Anthony and B.J. Ojulari and all those guys, but you still, and I know he's still a raw prospect, but Savion Jones is a guy from the outside, Mike, that we could be talking about for the next 3 or 4 years at LSU.
Yeah, it's, and I look at him physically, and it's like, I think he could probably put on 15 pounds and you wouldn't know it just because he's so long and he's so well put together. And he's not a guy that has little legs. I think he can get much bigger. So, people say, well, who does he remind you of? Well, I think he's somewhere, lengthwise, body-wise, he's somewhere between Clowney and Mingo. He's kind of right in the middle of both of them.
All right, I'm going to wrap up with a little trivia question for both you guys, and neither one knows what the question is. And what true freshman is going to do something that's never been done at LSU before? Football player.
You got me.
Mike?
I don't know.
Mason Smith is going to wear 0.
Oh, wow.
0 for Mason Smith wearing that number. I always like D linemen with a single digit. Yeah. And Jaquelin Roy at 99. Mike, are we going to see the most improved?
I was thinking, do we have a guy who's maybe going to compete in female gymnastics? At this day and age, I didn't know where you were going.
I'm just saying, I like these D linemen with a single digit, but we've never seen a guy wear 0 before. Oh, by the way, Mwani Wilkinson is doing it for LSU basketball. Mike, wrapping up, tell them what they get with Tiger Bait besides the trivia questions.
Yeah, got your full-service LSU site, loads of recruiting. We're really about to I've got some in the hopper now, stories on 2022 recruits. I think we're about to see that really take off, and some guys jump on board here in the coming 6 to 8 weeks. So I think 22 is going to start to pack on some more, and that class could very much be one of the tops, if not the top in the country, with what this state has. 23 as well. Baseball coverage, basketball coverage. It's going to be a tough task for Will Wade the rest of the way. And then before you know it, spring football will be here. So this time of year is extremely busy on TigerBait.com. And if you're an LSU fan, subscribe, choose the annual package. I always say that over and over and over, but when you choose the annual package, you get 3 months free essentially with the savings.
All right, Mike. Certainly appreciate your time here on Tiger's Roar. You stay safe. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
All right. And, of course, we've had the full gamut. We talked Super Bowl. We talked Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Kansas City Chiefs. And Alan Faneca, the Hall of Famer, had to be loving the fact that 6 Tigers win that Super Bowl. Once again, if you've been behind a rock and a hard place, LSU picking up Brian Thomas Jr. yesterday at 1 o'clock today. Also, Mike Jones Jr., a outside linebacker that can run. But here's the thing. What did LSU have trouble last year with the linebackers covering backs out of the backfield?
Keeping containment, right.
This kid, and now he got hurt, and he didn't play a whole season, but to have a linebacker that can run and cover with all those guys coming back, man, I'm excited about Mason Smith. Not just because he's wearing 0, but because I think he's got a chance to be really, really special.
You ever heard of the rapper Mike Jones?
I have.
Mike Jones, who? Look for the who 1,000 times next year. The kid's going to get tired of it so quick. I mean, he's probably heard it his whole life. But Mike Jones, who? That's going to be coming up. We'll wrap up this week's edition of Tigers Roar. Right after this last break, he's the Budman Buddy Sanji. I'm Jonathan Poche. Don't go anywhere. You're watching Tigers Roar.
It's a mailbag.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent.
Depend on us for service, for selection, for price.
Get huge Whirlpool savings. Shop now and save on Whirlpool appliances throughout the store. Plus, experience our price match guarantee and ask about special financing.
You can depend on the know-how of people who live appliances every day.
Bolello's Furniture and Appliances, your dependable independent with nationwide buying power.
Hi, I'm Hurricane Betsy Barnes.
And I'm Dr. Kay Siller with the Rocket Right Show.
We are two busy blondes on the go showing off life in Louisiana.
Watch us on Pelican Sports Network.
And Talk 107.3 FM. Check local listings for times.
Of all the auto brands on the road today, only one has been named the best auto brand for 6 straight years. That brand is Mazda. Come shop and save on the award-winning lineup of new Mazdas right now at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Continue here on Tigers Roar, the last segment of this episode. But I'm going to run the gauntlet a little bit. Start with some LSU basketball. Going to face Mississippi State tonight. We are taping on the 10th of February. Will Wade's team is 11-6. Hit some struggles, but that team is talented. Cam Thomas has shown he can do some great things with the basketball. Where do you see LSU basketball at right now?
If I had any idea on how they were going to play tonight, I'd live in Vegas and be drinking with a umbrella in my drink.
That's right.
Look, the biggest problem that, as we all know and as we've watched, is that they've got some offensive talent, but they are fundamentally sound. Their IQ on shot selection is minuscule.
Yeah.
They don't like to put a body on anybody rebounding. And for the life of me, I don't understand why they can't teach an inbounds pass, whether you're defending or getting it in. And oh, by the way, when you're soaking the game at the end, don't get the ball to Josh LeBlanc. He shoots 30-something% from the free throw line. Get it to Cam Thomas and the guys that shoot 85 or above. That being said, I got a sneaky feeling this is a winnable game.
Yep.
But JP, your dad taught you, my dad taught me. When somebody's hot, you feed them the ball. And I think there's some jealousy because Will Wade said earlier in the year, Cam Thomas can shoot, and I have he's got a green light everywhere. Well, guess what? He made his first 4 or 5 shots against Texas Tech, and yet Javonte Smart started jacking it up. Trendon Watford started jacking up. So really, it's street ball on offense. Fundamentals are lacking, but when they're in a groove and when they're playing together, which is seldom, they're a pretty good basketball team. Now, Darius Days is going to try to go tonight, and Will Wade said it'll be a game-time decision. He's about 80%. Sharif O'Neal is banged up with the foot again, so he hadn't practiced all week. Josh LeBlanc, that's a silent C. Please quit having people around the country think this kid's name is LeBlanc. Get it straight, LeBlanc, silent C. We're in South Louisiana.
LeBlanc.
And so, but somehow, some way, I got them winning this game because they need it. Right now, they're on the outside looking in, and to get back on the bubble, they need to win a game or two here in the next couple games with hosting Tennessee also on Saturday.
Yeah, just had a couple tough games. Texas Tech came down to the wire, blew it at the end. Your boy McClung, however you say it.
Yeah.
That boy's got some a set on him. I mean, what he did late in that game was incredible. Not only the back-to-back threes, but that tip for the steal.
Sure.
Unbelievable. Then you go play Alabama, the best team in the SEC, in my opinion. Didn't look good, right? And I've always said for a while now that LSU's inbound plays under the goal, trying to get it across, they've never been that good under Will Wade. But this year, with all the talent on the offensive side, you figured he would figure it out. It's a lot of street ball, like you said. I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Just not a lot of continuity within the team structure when things start going haywire. If you can play up and down, fast break points, LSU can win some games. But if it comes down to a set and when to run a play and screen and who's going to take that shot, I think there's some questions to be answered right there.
Even the broadcasters, and oh, by the way, one of the things I don't like because of the COVID protocols is that a lot of these guys aren't even at the arena. And they may be in the basement or his sports room or whatever, and he's calling the game, and this guy's calling the game. And so, they start telling stories and joking stuff. So I don't think the broadcasters have done a good job this year. But, look, it's put up and shut up for LSU. And I got to tell you now, Will Wade, when Charles Manning went into the transfer portal, I said, this is not good because Charles Manning was their best outside defender. And JP, their defense on dribble drive penetration is horrific. And Nate Oates even said it. The tape shows you when you dribble drive penetrate on LSU, they slack back off, help defense, and guess what? It leaves wide open. 3 balls. And of course, Alabama set the SEC record a couple weeks ago with 23. But when they're on offensively and when they're sharing the ball and when they're playing together, it's a fun team to watch. Unfortunately, as of late, with 4 or 5, and we know that Saturday's game against Florida was postponed because of COVID, we'll see if the SEC can successfully make up basketball games. They had to do the same thing in football.
Right, Mississippi State tonight, Wednesday the 10th. Then Saturday to take on Tennessee at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. And then it's Auburn on the following Saturday. Okay, we're going to switch from the hard floor to the gymnastics floor, LSU gym.
Big, 4-0.
Guess who's coming up next?
Florida, Friday night, 6:15 on the SEC Network. If you haven't seen Haley Bryant and Kaya Johnson and all of these other stars, Jay Clark doing a great job with depth. He's starting to get some of these young ladies that haven't performed before in there. Kaya Johnson's been battling a little bit of injury. Inexplicably, she fell off the beam 2 consecutive weeks. I don't care how good you are.
Yep.
When you have a faux pas two consecutive weeks, you got to go to Dr. Phil or somebody.
Right. I mean, it's definitely mental.
But it's a shame because had we not been COVID, this would be a hard sellout with 11 or 12,000. And before Dee left, she was pretty proud. She was out drawing basketball easily. So very loyal fan base. They love them some LSU gymnastics. And as we know, it should be lit Friday night at the Pete Maravich Assembly Center. Looking probably going to have to go 197, 6 or 7 to beat Florida Friday night. But they were 1 and 2 in the country. Oh, by the way, some sad news today because of COVID and what Latoya the Destroyer has done. With the Crescent City, SEC gymnastics meet will not be at the Smoothie King Center this year. They're going to take it elsewhere and hopefully get it back. But, the last time it was at the Smoothie King Center, 10,000 plus, and LSU won it, of course.
Sarah Finnegan, a name LSU gymnastics fans know very well. She was one of the greatest to ever do it in the purple and gold leotard. She has been named the USA Gymnastics to the board of directors. So congratulations to Sarah Finnegan. I mean, she eats, breathes, and sleeps gymnastics, so couldn't think of a better name to have on the board.
And the last sport to cover as we wrap up here, baseball starting a week from Friday. LSU will play Air Force and then Notre Dame and piecemeal the schedule. Had Coach Maneri on the show today. A lot of young guys, Dylan Cruz, Trey Morgan, Drost, a freshman coming in, and a kid, Safford, who was a football player and baseball player at U-High. And how about this, Jaden Hill throwing 97, 98. A.J. Labus, Landon Marceau, got a lot of pitching, and Devin Fontenot in the back end to close games.
Yeah.
You know the deal here, man.
Yeah.
People in Baton Rouge, they want to eat a steak in Omaha. They don't want to go on TV and order Omaha steaks.
That's right.
I got a sneaky feeling that if they can have some timely hitting, this pitching is going to be good enough to really put them in a situation to host a regional and a super regional, and that usually means LSU's best ticket to get to Omaha.
That's right. Some preseason All-Americans on that pitching staff. Of course, you have some live bats coming back, ready to get in the box again. I mean, it feels like forever since we've had LSU baseball. Last year with COVID, Kay Beloso has dropped some weight. He's looking good in the box. Coach Palmineri really set up pretty nice. A preseason ranking of number 9, 8, 9, whatever you do your shopping. But LSU baseball, SEC baseball on a whole, ready for that to be back, ready for the weekend series. It's going to look a little bit different with the midweek games this season. LSU's supposed to play Southern, which would be a great thing for Baton Rouge. Hopefully they get that game. Of course, we all know we don't know what to expect with this crazy COVID world, but LSU baseball just around the corner, almost a week away. Excited, Bud Man?
Well, I am excited, and I like the influx of the new talent and the position players. As we know, everybody got an extra year, so they will have a few more players at their disposal. And you're a young guy. And look, Bryson DeChambeau is trying to hit the golf ball 400 yards, and they talk about exit speed. Are you one? Look, the only thing I used to really care about is what he's throwing on the jugs gun. And by the way, Jaden Hill throwing 95, 96, 97, 98. But how about some of these exit speeds on some of these dingers? Gavin Dugai, it's not how far you hit it, it's how quick it goes out the ballpark. Right. The analytics, and Eddie Smith in year 2 as the hitting coach. Let's be honest, we love it. I still have the T-shirt. You remember? Chicks dig the long ball.
That's it.
I want to see more long balls. I want to see them hitting closer to 280 than 250. But here's the kicker. It's a long season. It's a marathon. And thank goodness they're not playing this weekend because it was too cold for baseball this weekend. Yeah. I already looked at next weekend's forecast, not that they know ahead of time, but it will be a little bit warmer. But a lot of pitching early on, and then you want to max out with the hitting. And it's going to be a fun year to follow, but I will say this. 5-5 in football and basketball, maybe not making a big dance. You know it and I know it. What happens with the fan base? That's more pressure on LSU baseball to get to Omaha.
I'm glad you mentioned Eddie Smith. Of course, came on 2 years ago, and everybody thought he was going to be the Joe Brady of the baseball team. Really changed the approach, changed the swings, get some more production at the plate. Talk a little bit about his approach and how he can really help these players develop.
Well, look, as we said, all of the technology and all of the analytics, but the one thing that Coach Maneri has said about Eddie Smith is that, look, he can't swing the bat, and neither can Paul, and Alan Dunn can't throw the ball. But Eddie Smith, they feel like, has put this team in the best position. Dylan Cruz, man, they thought he was going first round, and he didn't get the money, and he pretty much said, oh, I'm going to LSU.
Yep.
All these other guys. Cade Beloso, I'm still not buying that, switching from first base to the outfield, so he certainly's dropped some weight. But I want to see the long ball. I want to see them play good defense, and obviously an array of depth with pitchers. Devin Fontenot, man, when he's on, he's as good a closer as there is. But back to the question, Eddie Smith, I don't know. I do know this. Todd Walker and Ben McDonald and all the guests that we get on during the season, Todd Walker will tell you from the get-go, LSU needs to be a little more selective when they swing. Far too many times the last couple of years, even before Eddie got here, they're swinging at the first pitch. Todd Walker says, man, you ought to be looking at 3 or 4 pitches just to get knowledge on what this guy has as far as his stuff goes.
I mean, especially when you get to the regional or super regional, you see the same pitchers from that team a couple times. You got to be disciplined, swing at your pitch, and that's really what it's all about. I mean, Ted Williams said you can only hit strikes. If you swing at strikes, you have a better chance of hitting the ball. Got to get something in your zone, and I think a lot of that comes with time in the box. A lot of these young guys, they were hitting bombs every game in high school. You know, they'd stroke high school pitching. When you get to college level, I mean, these guys have a little bit more sink on their changeup, a little bit curve on the deuce, and they can throw the ball and hit their spots with the fastball. And really, when you can hit locations in college pitching, that's what it's all about. Not really how hard you throw, because these guys will time it up. If you leave too many pitches over the plate, they'll start hitting those home runs.
And Coach Maneri said a lot of guys like Matthew Beck and Trent Vittmeyer and all those guys that have been around, they only throws 87, 88, 89, but they know how to pitch, and they've got 3 or 4 pitches that they can throw for strikes. Money and all these other freshmen coming in, man, they're hitting 93, 94, 95, so Alan Dunn got to be happy. Of course, Eddie Smith got to be happy, and Dylan Cruz, one little tidbit, Todd Walker, probably to me the most natural. Him and Eddie Furnace are probably the 2 best hitters consistently I ever saw at LSU. But Todd Walker hit a lot of balls in the left center, opposite field shots. Dylan Cruz is going to hit 4 or 5 home runs in the right center. And for a power hitter and a guy that's coming out that quick to go opposite field with power, that's a treasure to have on your baseball team.
Yeah, the first 3 games for the Tigers will be Air Force, Notre Dame, and Louisiana Tech, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series, all at home, Skip Bergman Field, Baton Rouge, Alex Box Stadium. A lot of people looking forward to that. I don't know how many people are going to be allowed in the stands. I haven't heard that information yet, but
about 2,500, about 25%. And oh, by the way, the first couple of weeks, almost through the month of February, I call it Alec the Icebox because something off that river and that wind, man, the LSU fans know it. Chris Guillott's going to have to cheer to stay warm this year.
A super fan, Chris Guillott. Okay, just about out of time here on Tigers Roar. I want to thank Alan Faneca for spending some time with us, along with Mike Scarborough from TireBreak.com. I want to thank my co-host, Buddy Sanjay, for always doing a fabulous job. Don't forget, check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcasting, a great way to keep up with everything we do here at the Pelican. Check us out. Tune in next time, Tigers Roar. Once again, the Budman, Buddy Sanjay. I'm Jonathan Poche. We'll see you next time.